Welcome into the Sporting News Studios for this edition of Throwin' Elbows with Sean Devaney. I'm Tom Vandervoort. We're talking NBA, and Sean, let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks, because a lot of teams, when they win a championship, they just got to hold on to those players and take another run at it, and sometimes that comes back to bite them. In the case of the Mavericks, you're telling me maybe they didn't hold on to enough guys for long enough.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that happens in the NBA is you win a championship and you realize, okay, we've got a championship window, and that window is usually not open very long. Certainly in the Mavericks case, they had a lot of old guys, and so you had to know that it was going to close fairly quickly. But they gave up pretty much right away. You know, they let Tyson Chandler walk immediately after they won that championship, and you can see now that it's really costing them. That the fact that they didn't go out and get Deron Williams as they had planned on has sort of set them back into the middle of the pack in the Western Conference. Rather than keeping that team together with Tyson Chandler, you see what Jason Kidd is doing in New York, what Jason Terry is doing in Boston. Had they kept that group together with Dirk Nowitzki, with a great coach in Rick Carlisle, you know, you have to think that they would have at least had another chance. Now that they're sort of a middling team, you know, you have to question the wisdom of what they did.
Absolutely. Now, you know, a lot of people, I think, probably question the wisdom of trading James Harden to the Houston Rockets. Kevin Martin coming back in return for the Thunder. But how impressed are you with this guy as a sixth man in Oklahoma City? Because, you know, he may be doing almost as good as Harden was doing.
Yeah, you know, he's a different player. Harden was much more of a ball handler and a pick and roll guy. But what Kevin Martin can do is score without needing the basketball in his hands. So, you know, you kind of forget about him because you're focused on Durant, you're focused on Russell Westbrook, and they find a way to get him the ball. He's got such a quick release. He can really shoot very easily, very long-armed, so he can, you know, get the ball up over defenders. And, you know, he has really proven to be every bit the sixth man that James Harden was. A little bit different, but here's a guy who's averaging 16 points, shooting 48% from the three-point line. If he keeps up those kinds of numbers, he will be the sixth man of the year, which is, you know, pretty remarkable for a team to have two different guys be sixth man of the year in back-to-back seasons. But right now, I think you'd have to go with Kevin Martin for that award.
Now, I cannot let you go without talking about the lovely Los Angeles Lakers. It's been a little tumultuous out there in La La Land. Is there any hope for this team looking back to a team like the 2011 Heat that got off to a rough start? Maybe some questions about Coach Spoelstra. Any hope for Laker fans that this team can do kind of what the 2011 Heat were able to do, and that's get to the NBA Finals?
Well, you know, I think maybe about 10 days ago there was some of that hope because the Lakers were 8-8. If you go back and look, the Heat were 9-8 when, you know, LeBron had the little bump with Spoelstra, and everybody was quite sure that Pat Riley was going to come down from the front office and take over that team. And that was something that if you're a Lakers fan, you're saying, well, look, this is what happened when the Heat put together their super team. Maybe this will be what happens when we put together ours. Well, they've lost 5 out of 6 since then, and really things have gotten much worse. You know, you look at Pau Gasol being out now, some of the confrontations he's had with Mike D'Antoni. Now Mike D'Antoni seems to be losing it a little bit, got into a confrontation with the reporter. You know, Kobe Bryant sitting back and wondering what the heck is going on, calling this the most challenging stretch of his career. You know, I think there was some daylight there where you could say, okay, these are just natural growing pains like the Heat had 2 years ago. I think we've now kind of crossed the threshold of, you know what, this is something different. This is, right now, this is a full-on disaster.
I know that we talked when they let Mike Brown go, and you said, hey, look, you know, they weren't performing that poorly on offense. They really had some problems with their defensive efficiency. Is it any different right now than it was then as far as, I mean, is it as simple, let's play some defense out here?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, you let up 100 points to the Cavaliers. That's something where the offense hasn't been that great either lately, but really it's been the defense. And, you know, you hire Mike D'Antoni and you have to wonder, you know, what's the thinking there, because, you know, that's really not been his calling card throughout his career as a coach. It was a bizarre hire in that respect, because this is a team obviously that can score. They need to get it together on the defensive end, and we really just haven't seen that. The only time we saw that really was when Bernie Bickerstaff was the coach in that interim period, maybe they should consider bringing him back.
Bring back Bernie. Absolutely. All right, Sean, thanks so much for your time today.
Okay, thank you, Tom.